Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about round 3 of Britcar at Spa. Let's go! Now, as I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about Spa. I went to Spa in Belgium, one of the world's most famous F1 or just racetracks in general. First time I've ever been there, and it was all to do with the Britcar Endurance Championship that I've been covering with the Army sports car racing team. If you don't know what I'm on about, I shall put up a link here of the series. I'm currently the videographer for the Army sports car racing team, which is mega, and I'm making a documentary called Against the Grain. But before we crack on, as per usual when I'm in the office, I have a Hot Wheels car here, and you guys and girls have to guess what type of Hot Wheels car it is. It's a new one to add to the collection. Looks pretty sick. Bit of a unusual colour, but nonetheless a lush car. Put your guess in the comments below. Now, Spa. What a crazy turn of events. I'm going to need a brew for this one. Round 2 was Oulton Park, as you know. If you don't know, then have a look at that link that I mentioned of the playlist and have a look at Oulton Park. Basically, we had some dramas at Oulton Park. Bit of a disappointing race with the guys, but nonetheless, we bounced back and we were all good to go. Bumper repaired, freshly prepared, freshly painted and freshly wrapped. So within this endurance championship, this is the only overseas trip, which is mega. We actually get the opportunity, and especially to do Spa, because I've never been before. If you don't know what Spa is, then give it a little Google, but like I said in the intro, it is one of the most famous tracks in the world. With some corners that are renowned for being brutal if you get them wrong. But what did we do? Tuesday night we all descended upon Will, the driver, his house, his army house. There must have been, I don't know, 10 plus, let's say, of us. We bundled round his house, and his partner, wife, cooked some giant smoked ribs, which was lush, on his Traeger grill, so that was gleaming. There was thunderstorms. I slept on the floor in my sleeping bag underneath the sofa bed that someone else was sleeping on. We were just all dotted everywhere, good to go for an early start. So we left early doors in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, good to go for the ferry. Travelled to the ferry. We had our van towing the Ginetta, and we had a minibus that was towing a trailer with stores and stuff like that in it. So limited to 57 or whatever it was, the minibus was limited anyway. So it took quite a while. I think we got to Belgium, or the hotel rather. We might have got, I want to say, off the top of my head, I want to say 8 o'clock. Must have been 8 o'clock, half 8, because we had messages saying nobody allowed on the track before 8 o'clock. And then when we actually turned up, oh, no one in the garages, sorry, yeah, 8 o'clock. So when we turned up, they wouldn't let, we pushed them into the garage, and then somebody said, what are you doing? You're too early, you have to come back tomorrow morning. And then when he realised who we were, and he realised that we were the army team, he was like, actually, don't worry about it, you can go in early. So anyway, we set up shop. That was good in the pits garage, which were pretty big, to be fair. So that was mega. So we set up shop and then went back to the hotel to check in. Hotel was pretty good, to be fair. Some of us had better rooms than others, but there's 3 of us. It's me, Rob, and Chadders in the hotel, in a one room, split beds. But no, it was good. No dramas. So we arrived, good to go. I thought, I'm already filming at this point anyway, but I thought I'd sort out my bag, and I thought majority of the time let's have a look if you can see that or not, but the majority of the time I had this shoulder bag, K&F Concept. I have done a review about it, which I'll link up above here, but I could probably do with doing a follow-up video, to be honest, because it is a good bag. I love it, to be honest. So I had that bag along with plenty of other equipment throughout the week. So I thought, yeah, like I said, I would get that ready for the morning. So Thursday morning was testing. We only had, I want to say it's 50 minutes. It was less than an hour anyway. Alton Park, we had like 4 sessions that were long, so it was really good. A running joke with Ted, but that was 4, it's like 2 45 minutes and 2 50 minutes or something like that. And we only had 1 times 50 minutes or 1 times 55 minutes, something like that. Not that long, to be honest. But there was only 2 drivers this weekend, which was Will and JC. Josh was doing Trooping in the Colour with the army, so he couldn't attend that, which is a shame, but worked out better for the strategy because they were shorter races, which I'll come on to in a second. But yeah, still a shame that he couldn't turn up. So testing, I want to say went well, put in some good times, but Will made an unfortunate error with one of the Britcar, one of our competitive teams, a Britcar BMW, and on one of the corners called Bus Stop, which is a very, very sharp chicane, you literally go from like 135, 140 miles an hour to walking pace to get round in this bloody corner. Anyway, he thought that the door was being opened on the inside, so went to go for the gap, and yeah, I guess adrenaline and poor judgment by accident hit into the BMW. Luckily didn't cause any damage to the BMW somehow, but caused more structural damage to the bumper that we'd only just, or not we, the guys had only just repaired. JC's family had only just repaired and wrapped, so we had to had to repair that pretty rapid before the next day. And then Friday, we're moving on to Friday, was pretty much just tinkering with the car, making sure that the bumper was prepared, making sure that the setup was better in case of rain. So you have to adjust, make it a bit more softer, and just basically prepping the car for the races on Saturday and Sunday. And then in the afternoon on Friday, we had scrutineering, which is alright, but there's a few extra bits and pieces that you have to tick off because it was in Europe and it is under FIA rules, which are way more stringent. Well, not way more stringent, they just have additional things to be aware of. And then Friday evening was interviews for my part. Interviews went alright, to be fair. Lighting wasn't great because I wanted to do them outside at the bottom of the most famous corner, Eau Rouge area, or Ridion, or whatever it's called. I did interviews at the bottom of the actual corner, which was class, which you'll see in the episode. Just really good to be able to have that opportunity, and I thought, I just came up with the idea because of the background and the bold yellow curbs. I just thought, if I can, then we'll just get interviews at the bottom. So yeah, really happy with that. I don't think there's going to be that many people that can say they've had or conducted interviews at the bottom of one of the most famous Formula One tracks, race tracks, whatever. Anyway, they went well, apart from the light blinding the guys because of the sun, and I kept on having to try and chase my shadow as well to not get my shadow on the subjects whilst I'm filming them. Anyway, that went well. And then we move on to Saturday. Saturday's wild. So we woke up and it's storms, typical Spa. Went from really lush weather on a Friday and then mental rain on let me try and think my memory serves me right. So in the morning, let me just think. So in the morning, it was absolutely smashing it down with rain. Loads and loads of storms, lightning, of which I didn't film, which is flipping annoying. I tried to film some, but wasn't successful. So that is right. We nearly got ours, didn't get cancelled, but the race before us, as in the practice before us, single seaters, Formula 3 or GB3, whatever they call it, that was cancelled because of how slippery it was. And I remember JC coming back, and he was like, "It's probably the scariest thing I've ever done." And he's been racing like 20 years, and he was like, "Yeah, one of the scariest things I've ever done. I don't really want to do that anymore." So that's just to gauge how rainy it was. You'll see on the documentary once I've actually edited it. I haven't edited anything yet other than cut down some of the interviews. But it was mental, and the Ginetta was aquaplaning, and the screen was misting up. So yeah, it was just a nightmare. So that was Saturday practice, and then by lunchtime, about 1 o'clock for qualifying, I think Will went out and the track was starting to dry up. and Will managed to qualify quite well, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head, which was good considering the cars that are on the grid. They did quite well, so that's good. Saturday race was very hot, very, very hot. And I remember it being hot because I was trying to leg it up and down the track. But as far as I'm aware, it went really well, and they finished, I want to say they finished 5th overall. They had a couple of safety cars, and JC right at the end, and I'm pretty sure I got it on film, but JC right at the end overtook a BMW on the outside coming out of the bus stop right at the end. Really, really good overtake. It's just really, really good, and I can't wait to put that into the documentary. So that was good. And then obviously that concluded the day, so we had to make sure that the car was good to go, the setup was good to go before Sunday. We were hoping Sunday was going to be raining, but it seemed to be that it was going to be quite dry. And the reason why we wanted it to be raining is because we have cars on the grid that are much more powerful than us in some respects, and if you can't put the power down and exit out of the corners rapid, then you're all in the same boat, and it comes down to skill. And Will is really, really good. He's driven there in the rain before in Spa in a Ferrari, and he's really, really good on the particular track in the rain with the Ginetta. Ginetta's suited quite well to the rain compared to more higher powered cars. Anyway, it didn't rain. It was, as far as I remember, it was looking to be a bit of a scorcher. We had practice in the morning. Practice was a bit of a drama. So JC went out and the car cut out because there was an error with the ECU that we'd found Saturday evening after Parc Fermé. It wasn't running properly and we couldn't work out what it was. Will tapped his laptop in and couldn't work out what it was because of the condition of the car at the time. Anyway, come Sunday morning for practice, JC went straight out. We've only got like 50 minutes, like I said, and didn't even do a lap, and the car stopped. So we had to wait for recovery. Got it recovered all the way back, pushed it into the bloody garage, got the laptop hooked up, turned the car off when the car was warm again, plugged the laptop in. As soon as you turned it on, Will could see whatever the error was. And it's basically like a fuel pump, something to do with the fuel pump, and there's a sensor in there for safety that would basically, there's like a limitation, so instead of things getting too crazy, the ECU would just automatically cut the engine out regardless, just as a safety precaution. But you can like blank the safety precaution and it would be fine, and there was no underlying issues. So Will was just like, fuck it, we'll go out. And it was all rapid. Everyone like went a bit wild because there was only like, I don't know, less than 10 minutes of practice left. So Will suited and booted, got out, and I think he did 3 laps, and one of the laps he was like 3rd fastest or something, or maybe 4th fastest out of everybody on the track, which is mega considering the conditions as well. So we were like really, really looking forward to obviously qualifying, and the car was in a good place. Now, qualifying, JC went out. So this is obviously the 2nd race now. We usually only do 1 race, but there's 2 races, and they're only 60 minutes, which I mentioned earlier, so which is why it's fine that there's only 2 drivers. But JC went out first because Will went out first the day before. So JC went out first, he did qualifying, and as one car slows you down, you're stuck, and it kind of blows your lap. So we really only had 1 lap left to do on a chance to like do a good lap. And Ted was on the radio saying you're gonna have to push it because you're doing well on the splits, but just try and push a little bit more. And JC was doing really well, and then came to turn 13, I think it was, which it's the slower part of the track, but it's still fast. You're still doing 75, 70, something like that. And JC basically just oversteered ever so slightly. Then when he tried to correct it, overcorrected it, and then it went back again, and he basically went into the tyre wall quite hard as well. I didn't know this at the time. He had just gone past me to go up Eau Rouge, and then I thought, right, I'll leg it back to the pits. It takes about 5 minutes plus, probably 10 minutes to get back to the pits, probably 5 minutes, I don't know. And I'm coming up the stairs. It's like 2 or 3 flights of stairs, and Claire, who's the Britcar official, she's there. She was on the phone, and I walked past her, and we clocked each other eyes, and I could hear her on the phone saying, "Is the driver okay?" And as she said, "Is the driver okay?" while she's on the phone, she's like looking at me saying, "Is the driver okay?" And I was like, "Hi, you all right?" I obviously didn't want to interrupt her phone call. But I was a bit like, this is weird. It was like a scene out of a film. It was a really strange experience. And obviously I didn't know that JC had hit the wall at this point. And I came into the garage and the car still wasn't there. And I thought, okay, must be a part ferme or scrutineering or something like that. But some of the other cars hadn't come back yet. But that's neither here nor there. But I was like, something's off. And everybody was out of the pits, out of the garage, stood in the pits. I looked at Ted, team principal, through the bods, if that makes sense. Like, he wasn't right next to me, he was in the background, and he just shook his head, and I was like, oh no. I thought, right, I'm gonna have to start filming some stuff, just filming the guys, their faces, that sort of stuff, and any chatter, anything like that. And JC's wife was out, and JC's partner and children were in the pits with us because she came out to support him. And yeah, we didn't know what was going on at the time. Then we were expecting the car to turn up at the back of the paddock on the back. And as we were leaving to go one way, JC and the recovery truck turned up on the original side that we were at. I'm gonna have to start filming some stuff at some point. And then JC came out and was just started bawling his eyes out to his wife, to his partner, Beth. And kids were crying. Ted came over to see how he was doing. He was just, obviously he's shook up and expecting the worst of financial situations and worried that the season's over, that sort of stuff. It's just, it was really difficult, to be honest, to film because you feel like you're in amongst it. Or I was obviously in amongst it, but at the same time, I felt like I had to film some of it just to get the emotion across and not just blank it out. But yeah, it was tough, really tough, to be honest, to film someone that's so upset. And obviously kids are upset, but that's the type of story where you just can't ignore it. You need to tell the story of how it is and the realness and stuff like that, and just get the emotions across. But yeah, but then after that, we got the car off, tried to get the car off anyway, because it was on the back of the truck, missing a wheel, pretty bad, substantial damage, and then got it into the garage. And then at this point, the people descended onto the garage to see how we were doing, see what the car was like, just in general, just have a look. I've never seen so many people interested, to be honest, because it's all fairly new to me. But anyway, loads of people turned up, and then you had teams turn up as well, saying that they've got all of the parts that they need, if needs be. And Ted was like, yeah, we'll have the parts if that's all right, because we can get it back on roadworthy, get it back on the trailer, and then we'll sort out finances when we get back to the UK. Then it was like, okay, this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the race was 16:38 off the top of my head, might be 16:50 something. But anyway, it was like 4:45, not long, 3.5 hours. And to be fair, by the time we got off the recovery truck, we're like, right, you've got to probably get about 2.5 hours. And because people have said that they got the parts and they can help us out, it was wild. There was like 10 people, mechanics and everybody else, stripping the car as quick as they could to then put parts, like laid out, see what's good, what's not good. Britcar officials said we could join in if needs be. Well, not if needs be, if we could actually make it, we could join the race, even if it had already started. So the pressure was on, but you could just tell, once you start digging in, you could tell that we weren't going to make the race. But nonetheless, the car was stripped quick, things were organised, good parts were put in one pile, bad parts were put in another pile. Then the race had started whilst we're still doing bits and pieces, so obviously we're out of the race now, which is fine. We should try to get the car in a good state so we can get that back to the UK. But once things had been sorted out and then the race had finally finished after another hour and people started packing up, none of these teams were anywhere to be seen. So we're like, oh, sorry, we've like packed up and blah 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 blah. And you're like, fucking hell, like nothing, no, not one part from any of the other teams. So now we're trying to think, shit, we need to get some parts in the UK quick, because Snetterton's the next one coming up in July-ish, so we've got like 5-6 weeks to get ready. And obviously it's going to cost a lot of money as well, because we don't have loads of money we have to rely on sponsors and stuff like that. So if you're watching this and you'd like to sponsor the Britcar Army sports car racing team for the Ginetta, then hit me in the DMs and see what we can do. Even if you see this in like 2 years time, 3 years time, and yeah, you never know what the team's doing. So if you'd like to sponsor, that'd be mega. Just hit me up in the messages and I'll see what I can do, point you to the right people. But basically what we then did was bandage the car up as much as we could and get that back on the trailer. Getting it on the trailer was hard work, but we did it. And then it was just basically time to go back to the hotel. Some of the guys, including Will, let off some steam, had a few beers, and yeah, then it was good to go back to the UK. I've obviously missed out quite a bit, but you'll have to wait out for the documentary to listen in or watch catch up. That was the premise of what had happened. I would like to say, because I'll obviously forget, although I didn't have accreditation to get trackside, Spa was one of the best tracks so far anyway that I've done that is like accessible for photographers and videographers. It's so good, so good. It's little windows here, little bits and pieces, the elevation to get on parts of the track and stuff like that. Just really, really good all round. Obviously a sick trip. Yeah, mega. I'm gonna have to go back one day again with the kids, take that drive there, and I don't know what event obviously we'll see, but yeah, it'd be mega. I don't know what the sketch would be as a member of the public. I guess you just stay on the outside of the track unless you pay for the paddock. But it's just a surreal experience. I wish I was more enthusiastic for being there, but I think it's because I'm working constantly whilst I'm on trackside. You don't necessarily have the pinch me moments of being there on a world famous track, but that's neither here nor there. This has been a great experience so far for the series, and I hope that you guys and girls are enjoying the documentary series so far. Obviously I've only done 2 and I need to make a start at some point. I'm not going to do it this weekend because I'm busy with family, but I've got to get this video out tonight, and then Monday, when I'm back to work, Monday evening, I'll make a start on the motorsport stuff. But that's pretty much it. That concludes a very brief synopsis of the weekends, what I was going to say, but it was 6 days leaving the country to get to Belgium. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Comment below if you're interested, or if you ask me anything about what the crack was, how I experienced this, any roadblocks I had, that sort of stuff, and I'll try and answer it as quick and as honest as I can. But yeah, comment below. We do like engagement on this channel. It's a very small channel so far. I think my next video is going to be, or one of my next videos anyway, depends how quick I can do the edit for the documentary, but the next video, what I was going to say, was a year of YouTube, because it's soon coming up to 1 year of doing this channel, so look forward to that. But anyway, that's pretty much it, guys and girls. Like, subscribe, all of those cool things, and share, comment, all of that good stuff. And like I said, thanks very much for watching, and I shall catch you in the next one.